Chronicles of Crime Noir is an expansion to the co-op crime-solving game. Set in 1950s Los Angeles, you'll need the base game and a phone or tablet to play. Whenever we review connected games or expansions, we have them linked to one another in the end screen. We've done the same here, meaning this will link to Chronicles of Crime, and that will link to here. Because I explained how the game plays in the base game, I'll instead focus on what's different. First, you no longer work at Scotland Yard, but rather a crummy work office. Thankfully, your assistants are amazing and more than willing to lend a helping hand. Because you don't have modern things like computers and blood scanning, the forensic experts are replaced with special action cards. Intimidation lets you threaten someone into talking. Break-in is pretty straightforward. Spy lets you tail someone at a location, and bribe is also really straightforward. These don't always succeed in the way you want them to, so use them wisely. You'll still be scanning locations to visit them, scanning people to talk to them, and scanning items to learn more about them. The game's music and writing has changed, and it's all very jazzy. My mom and dad say that the names and pictures look like famous celebrities. See the hat in the bottom left corner? All the cards in this expansion have that, so you'll be able to keep things straight. Once you think you solved the case, head back to your client. You'll be asked questions and answer by scanning the correct cards. Afterwards, you'll see your score and the full story. Scan cards, piece clues together, and solve crimes. That's Chronicles of Crime Noir. Chronicles of Crime Noir doesn't have player areas, but the board and locations mean you should save this for dining tables. Our average game was 90 minutes, including setup and takedown. Bad choices can end things much quicker though. Maybe it did this before and we somehow didn't notice it, but the app did update after we recorded the video for the base game. Anyhow, we noticed a general content warning for each case, which is helpful. All of this is to say that I didn't find Noir nearly as disturbing as the content of the base game. I'd say this is better suited for the average 10-year-old. One note, the sprawling cases were, to me at least, a bit harder to follow at times. There isn't always a happy ending in Chronicles of Crime Noir. In the second case, we were curious to see what would happen if we wasted time in a tense situation right at the start. We died. Restarting, we got down to business and we were doing really well. We knew we needed that one piece of evidence to bring everything together, so we headed to the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong people there. We pushed our luck and we died again. I really want to tell a second story. Okay, in the third case, me and Mom convinced Dad to do something really risky. It worked, but got us kicked out of the location. Trying to push our luck again, you'd think we'd have learned our lesson. We got arrested. Dad tried getting the cop off our back by showing him a piece of evidence, but he was looking for something a little different. Much later in the game, something happened suddenly that caught us off guard. It turns out that Dad maybe shouldn't have shown that thing to the cop. Chronicles of Crime Noir is definitely more difficult than the base game. The cases seem less straightforward, it's harder to get people to trust or open up to you, and there are more ways to fail. I love the action cards. It's such a different feel than being in the police force and you have to be choosy about using them. Things can get bad very quickly, or you might waste too much time, or... I'll say this again in the next section, but I really felt more like a detective here. There are multiple ways to get to the right or wrong solution, and I love that. It feels more realistic that way. The base game answer already has storage slots for the expansions. Nice. I do wish the location cards had placed things like in the base game. I sometimes felt I couldn't track who went with where because, in my mind, I couldn't connect a person with a place. I love Chronicles of Crime Noir. The base game is really great, but this is even better. I love the setting, the characters, the music, the difficulty, and how we felt more like detectives relying on ourselves instead of our forensic experts. Well, ourselves and the occasional bribe. I know not all kids, or even adults, will be interested in the disturbing crimes of the base game or the theme of this one. The next expansion, Welcome to Redview, is family-friendly. Set in the 1980s, a group of kids try to discover why animals are disappearing. You'll still need the base game to play that, but for most families, that could be the perfect way to enjoy this excellent series.